Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I'm happy to have you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another reunion. Valentine's Day has just passed. I thought, why not sit down for another Courting Coco video. So, dearly beloved, we have gathered here today to talk about the highly anticipated $22 date. So before we get started on the $22 date, if you haven't seen episode 1 of Courting Coco, you might want to pause this video and go watch that one. Trust me, it's a good time. Quick disclaimer, this video is not meant to bash anyone. It's not meant to attack anyone's character or defame anyone at all. I have the utmost respect for this individual. I am merely sharing a dating experience. That's what we agreed to do during this series, and of course relaying my shock at some of the things that were said and done during the course of this date. So grab your tea, Chardonnay preferably, and let's get into it. Okay, girl. So we're a little bit late on this video, but y'all are gonna forgive me. Don't come for me. Don't come for me, y'all. Come on. But this actually happened last year. So last year, I met a gentleman. I met this young gentleman at an event for a mutual friend through a mutual friend. So we were vibing at the event, just talking, all in a group. The entire group was vibing. It was a good time. And one of my friends, this gentleman happens to be doing some work that is related to dating. And earlier that same day, ironically, I was snapping about how I went out to a party, to a club. I met this guy who was really cool, seemed to be interested, had a good job, and then I didn't take his number. So we were basically talking about my sucky dating skills, but you guys already know about that. So we all exchanged social media accounts. He and I exchanged business cards. We kept it, cool and casual. I wasn't thinking of anything of it. It was a dope conversation. So we kept up with each other through social media for a few months, and a couple months later, we ran into each other at a third mutual friends event. So same kind of situation. We ended up talking in a group with some other people at the event. We had a good time. It was getting time. The event was winding down, so we were both getting ready to leave and saying our goodbyes. He turned to me and he mentioned that he was going to the movies, and he was like, "You want to come?" Now, normally, I would take my ass home. I would. I am not one to hang around for the let out. I am ready to go before the lights come on, all that good stuff. But it was pretty early. It was like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I was like, you know what? Sure, why not? This young gentleman invited me to go out with him. I never go out. Why not? And I look good that night. That's besides the point. So we took the train to a movie theater that was close to where he parked. We were in Manhattan. And I took the train in. I parked at the train station, took the train in. So we went to see the movie. We get to the movie theater. He's getting the tickets, and he's kind of making a joke about money in his account. Like, oh, I hope there's money in there. Lo and behold, his card gets declined. So then he tells me, he has a business with his business partner, and his business partner, had make some purchases or whatever. So he's checking the account, and I'm like, okay, I'm sure there's money in there or whatever. I'm not super nervous because I know I got it if push comes to shove, but I was just kind of like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But it all got sorted out. He did have money in the account, or he found money in the account. I don't know. But we saw the movie. It was, I believe, Fast and Furious 8. It was a really good movie. And we had a good time. So we left the movie theater. We were walking to the train station. He was going to walk me to the train station that I was going to, and then continue on a few more blocks to his car. And then he mentioned that, he wasn't too far. If I didn't mind, he could drop me at a train station that was further downtown, just so that we can continue our conversation. Again, I don't know what was wrong with me, but I said okay. So I got in this man's car. We started driving downtown. We're continuing driving, and he's like, you know what? I could actually take you to a different train station so that we can spend more time, you know, just chatting or whatever. This is like a really good conversation. I'm like, okay, sure, that works. I'm checking train times. Apparently the train is not coming for like another hour, or it's coming at a time where I would definitely miss it. I wouldn't make it in time. So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to take you to your car. I'm like, oh. Because at this point, my car is definitely 45 minutes in the opposite direction of where he's going, of his house. But I was appreciative, and the man wanted to take me home. So that didn't come out. No, that's not what I meant. He wanted to take me to my car so that I could get home safely. So we drove to the train station that I parked at, and he dropped me at my car. Very nice. Gave me a hug. I asked him to let me know when he got home. And then I drove home. When I got home, he called me. Told me that he had a great time. Yeah. And said goodnight. That was Friday night. The next day, he texted me in the morning and he said that he wanted to see me again. So I'm like, okay, sure, next week, what you doing? Next month, I'm available. He said tonight or tomorrow. If you know me, you know that's a little too soon. Whoa. So I'm like, okay, let's do something tomorrow night then. That gives me a little time to wash my hair or something. I don't know. He asked me what I would want to do, and I told him that, you know, it was up to him considering it was his idea and he's the one who wanted to see me. I didn't say those exact words, but along the lines. We decided on bowling, and he picked a bowling alley. He actually picked somewhere that was in between both of our locations, but a little bit closer to me. So I really appreciated that. And I did not mind driving to meet him at all. So I drove to meet him. We bowled 2 games, and he paid for the bowling. It was $6 for the shoe rental and $5 per game per person. So it was $32 altogether. And yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, I had a good time. It was about 2.5 hours, 2 hours. At the end of it, he asked me if I was ready to go home or if I wanted to go and grab a drink. Since we had gone to the movies, we had gone bowling, we had done all these activities and had conversation in between kind of, but didn't really have the opportunity to get to know each other for real. Like, ask the real questions that you'd want to know. How old are you? Where'd you go to school? Do you believe in God? Do you have any children? Do you love your mama? What's your social security number? Have you ever gone to jail? Do you steal? Do you smoke? Do you drink a little too much? What do you like when you're drunk? So I said, sure, why not? Let's grab something to drink. He suggested we drop my car off since we were closer to my car and just take one car to get something to drink and go about our ways. So I agreed. As I'm on my way home and he's following me to drop my car, I'm thinking of where can we go to grab a drink real quick that's nearby so that he doesn't have to drive somewhere far, bring me back home, and then drive all the way to his house, which is 45 minutes away. So I'm calling my sister. I'm trying to find out, like, get suggestions, like, where should we go? So I drive my car home. I get in his car, and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe you drive that car. Now, I've gotten this reaction from men before. I'm 5'1", I drive a Jeep, whatever. It moves the same way as any other car. I don't get what the big deal is. But I brushed it off. So then he says to me, hey, can I take you somewhere that I really like to go to? And I'm thinking, initiative? I don't have to decide. You have an idea already. This is a man with a plan. Great. Boy, was I wrong. Let's take a sip break. I think we're all going to need some wine for this part. So we get in, we're on the car, we're on the way, we get on the highway. I'm like, all right, we're going to get off the next exit. Pass it. Okay, maybe the next 2 exit past those. All of a sudden, I noticed that we're on our way to Brooklyn. So if you live in New York, to give you some perspective, I live in Queens, and now we're on our way to downtown Brooklyn. So this is another good 30 to 40 minutes away. So we're driving in the car, and I'm thinking, okay, So I'm already in his car and we're going to Brooklyn. He's going to have to bring me back to Queens and then drive again through Brooklyn to get home. But it's his gas. So we're sitting in the car and I'm thinking all is good. We're going to have conversation and we start to talk about ourselves a little bit more. And of course, he starts to ask that question. You know, so why are you single? And usually people ask that question and they just kind of move on. But he was relentless. He asked me, why am I single at least 7 times? And I was just so confused as to what the response for that would be. What do you think he even wanted us to say? Do you think that we should have told him about us then? Do you think you think he knew? No, there's no way he knew. I mean, you didn't even let on a little bit. We couldn't tell him then he would really think that we're crazy. So in this discussion of why I'm single, he starts to ask me questions about my family and we get to talking about our personal lives and just like our childhood and how we grew up and things like that. So we're talking and I'm kind of telling him how close I am to my family and I have group chats with my cousins and we do traditional family dinners, all the holidays, big parties, all that good stuff. And he kind of looks at me and goes, oh, now it's all starting to make sense why you're still single. What? I'm a little confused and I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, you're so close to your family. I could see how that would be intimidating for a lot of people. That would be intimidating for me. Huh? So I proceed to tell him that, I still live with my parents and my younger brother, my older sister, and my niece. And his response, this man says,
so you don't have booty calls?
Honestly, what? So we began to talk about his family and it started to make sense to me too because he's not close to his brothers and sisters. He's not close to his cousins. His dad lives at least 2.5 hours away. His mom lives down south. He hadn't seen his mom and his sister in 2.5 years. It was just not the same. So at this point, he's gone on to tell me that if he came to a family dinner and he had to answer questions, that he would be intimidated and that just doesn't sound like anything and he wouldn't want to be comfortable doing a Thanksgiving dinner with family and all of this stuff. So I'm sitting in this car as this man continues to tell me that I'm single because I'm close to my family and tell me how my family is a problem and the reason why I am not in a relationship. We finally get to the area where he originally wanted to take me and homeboy doesn't think to check the closing time considering it's Sunday night. So by the time we get there, it's past 11 o'clock and the place is closed. Fabulous. So now he's like, oh, can I take you somewhere else? And I'm like, you know what? Sure, we're already here. What am I going to do? So we continued to drive on to another place in Brooklyn. We get to this place and there's no alcohol, sis. This drink that I was supposed to be getting that I could really use at this time doesn't exist. But it's cool. I'm still chilling, being cool, trying to be a good guest. I already told them family is non-negotiable, and if they're making me single, then I'm gonna just be single for forever because they're not going anywhere. We order our food. He gets a lemonade. I get a lemonade. He gets a dessert. I get a dessert. And he gets cheese grits. To each his own. We're eating or whatever. I'm already over it at this point. He can kind of tell. But he believes that I'm tired. I'm getting tired. Which I was tired. I was tired of his ass, but whatever. Semantics. We're done. I'm finished eating. He finally finishes his food. The waiter comes and brings the check. Places the check closer to him. I look at the bill. I know how much the bill was. I always reach, but there was no way in hell I was going to reach for some pie. Not happening. Especially after he insulted me and my family. So he takes out his wallet, pulls out his bank card, looks at the bill, looks at me, looks back at the bill, looks at me again, and says, so do you want to split this? do you want to split this?
Do I want to split this?
Part of me wanted to
Also
say,
known as a buster, always talking about what he wants and just sits on his broke ass. So no, I know what you're not.
no, hold on, I got it.
I don't want no scrub.
Do I want to split it?
I don't want no scrub.
But I didn't do that. No. I said, sure. Pulled out my bank card, and yes, sis, I swiped my card for $11 because that bill was $22. Now, I would not have minded if he wanted to split dinner, like a real meal. I wouldn't have minded if he wanted to cover the bowling and I'd cover the meal. But the fact that you would insult me, drive me all the way to Brooklyn, and then ask me to split the bill, you know? Haitian men might cheat on you, but they will never ask you to split a bill. So we get back in the car, drive home. It's a wonderfully awkward ride. Get home. I'm thinking in my head, this sucker better not even think about putting his paws on me. He better not. He better not. And he didn't. I got out of the car, said goodnight. He actually called me when he got home. I told him I was with a friend. And I didn't hear from him again. And 2 weeks later, he texted me and he asked me, like, hey, what's up? Like, it was a regular thing, like, all right. And he told me that he had been grinding. And basically asked me if, you know, he could still take me to the circus. And then he texted me, date, ? With an emoji. What answer did you think I gave him? Bottoms up, sis. Bottoms up. Yeah. And that, my friends, is the $22 date. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. You guys know I like to hear your opinions, so make sure you leave me a comment down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It's hump day, which means a Courting Coco episode is coming out. I promise you guys, for real this time. Remember, love hurts, but loneliness will kill you. I'll see you guys next Wednesday on the next episode of Courting Coco. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you want to hear about from me in this dating experience as we explore this world together. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.